and I'm tethering from my phone. So hopefully it's all going to work out and everything will continue to stay working. But if it all just dies, then that's what happened. I'm going to turn this volume down. There we go. Cool. Okay, here we are. Let's move our bodies. Starting with breathing. Breathing into your body, feeling the space around you. Oh, I can almost touch the ceiling here. And then exhale, let go. Touch the sky. Inhale, reach it out and up. Tippy toes or not. Exhale, bend your knees. Just being in the space. Taking up space in the space. As you can see, I'm about to fall over. Inhale, lift. Hopefully you're just in your own thing and you're not even watching. Just breathing along with me. Inhale, open. I got Caroline over in the kitchen. The fabulous sound, not sound, all things person, lighting. Drop it down. Let your head and neck release. Stage management. Acting. She got you covered. Even sometimes dancing. Release. Inhale, open it up. Oh, and I should plug her. She's a yoga teacher and she does privates and does yoga stuff. So that's the Caroline Harvey plug. Custom Fit Yoga. Look it up. Inhale, lift, open it up. Interlace your hands over your head, side to side. Hello, rib cage. Hello, spine. Feeling your feet on the floor. And then let's take the arms kind of in a circle. So I'm going to show you sideways. I'm just moving them around. Don't go out of your range of motion that feels comfortable. Stay in something that feels good, but just getting those little muscles, well, they're not that little, they're pretty big, but the intrinsic muscles under your scapula to move around, under your shoulder blades. Change direction, go the other way. Feeling that whole tower of your body mobilizing, that upper tower, fairly stable in the lower part. And then we're going to open the arms out to the sides, internally rotate, externally rotate. Think of this all the way into your fingertips. So there's like this core distal relationship. I'm going to internally rotate and round my spine, externally rotate and arch. Thinking of that movement of the hands moving all the way into your lungs and heart. So there's this nice mobility inside, just clearing up any stuckness. Inhale, open. We're going in the same direction on both sides. Arching. Doesn't have to be your biggest cat-cow, but a little arch and curl. My knees are bent. And then we're going to change it to one side and then the other. Yes, hello, dance class. Let's get into the movement. And if you feel excited about it, you can bend one knee. Bend whichever knee feels like it makes sense to you. Doesn't have to look like what I'm doing. Yeah, so getting that whole rotator cuff connection into the fingers, the forearms, the upper arm, and then release it. Circles with your shoulders. I'm going to bend and straighten. Again, mobilizing rib cage, lungs, and heart. So for all the people in TV land, you may not know, I had COVID during that. I had COVID last week. And then I had time, like I just cleared the COVID in time to come into the city and do this show, splitting my sides with the Scottish company, Ocean All Over. And it's pretty fun and amazing. Okay, let's take it down. Bend your knees wide. Shift from side to side, let it go. Head to tail to head, free it up. Hello, hamstrings. Hello, legs. Hello, floor under my feet. Free up the spine, let your head completely relax. Nothing to hold on to. There's nothing in there that you need to hold on to at this moment, quite possibly. And then bend your knees and roll it up. And we'll go with circling your knees. So this circle for my knees is really so that I get my feet moving around. My pelvis, hip joint is mobilizing. My tibia and fibula, lower leg bones are moving around. But the bones of my muscles, the bones and muscles of my feet, calf, and shin are getting a lot of action. Change direction, other way. Oh, I have to also point out this Soy George t-shirt that I'm wearing. He did a David Bowie concert. Well, he sings the songs. He did what the a Life Aquatic. I think it says Steve Zazu or someone Zazu. Anyway, shake it out, shake it out. I'm watching Caroline. She's like shaking it out. Shake, shake, shake. But it's really great. Him singing David Bowie songs with just a guitar and his Brazilian accent. Okay, let's take it down to the floor. Going to angle this. Check out my New York City creaky floor situation. Did you notice it when you were teaching yesterday? No. Arms out, back of the hands towards each other, rounding your spine. Oh, giving yourself. So there's a lot that's happening here. We could think I'm working my abs, I'm working blah, blah, blah. But what I'm thinking right now is I am massaging out this part of my back as I roll. If that hurts at all, don't go as deep. But for me, it's like, oh, I really need that. Tail is like curling and rolling. And then inhale, open, open, open. Exhale. Inhale, fill it up. Exhale, back of the hands towards each other. Inhale, open. Exhale. Let's spiral, opening it to the right or the left. Back of the hands, spiraling, reaching out to those little tippy fingers like you have little dragonfly fingers. E.T. fingertips. One of my ballet teachers used to say that, Jackie Villamil. Reach out through your hands, little E.T. fingertips. Inhale, open. Exhale. We're going to stay up there and just take a twist. And then take it down halfway. Go to the other side and the same thing. Finding that length in your spinal cord. And think of your whole spinal cord, bring it back into center, as being like this very springy, lots of capacity for movement, those little cushy marshmallow discs, marshmallow discs have space in there to move and renegotiate. I learned this thing about cats, is what makes cats really fast is that they can shorten their spine, they can kind of wind it up and then elongate it. And we can too, right? We can also find that length or sink down into it. And it's not that we want to always be lengthened or always sunken in, but we want that kind of aliveness, that capacity for lengthening and shortening in the spine. Take it down to the floor. Just let yourself settle into the floor for a breath or two, feeling the ground underneath your body. The places where you feel connection are probably like the bony landmarks, like your shoulder blades, your head, back of your heels, your elbows. Imagine that your skin and your fascia and all your stuff is just softening in towards the floor, melting down, letting go. No need to hold on. It's not going to fall off. And then we'll just knee drop easy from side to side, dropping your knees from side to side. Oh my God, my butt is sore. I took a ballet class on Thursday. Was it Thursday? Yeah. And then you can take this a little deeper, just crossing over if you have the space. But it's not that I took a ballet class that's part of the reason that I'm sore. But the other part is that this show involves a lot of time in a very deep squat. I think that I know some of the people in my Zoom room are coming tonight. Count the squats. Oh my God, there's so many. I'm like, oh my God, thank God I can actually do a squat. But there are a lot. We get down and then we lift things up over our heads. So let's warm up our backs and our hamstrings. Rolling up through your spine, vertebra by vertebra. Doesn't have to be your highest, and then roll it back down. Just going up and down a few times. So we did that, springy up and downness of the spine. We've spiraled the spine. Now we're working through the sagittal plane, rolling and curling up, and then rolling and curling down, getting that mobility through your spine. Sometimes we think of our spines as just being these sort of stable rods, and they really are not. They are nothing like all architecture. Like our spine is nothing like a column, except for the fact that when we're standing, it's kind of vertically erect. All right, lift your pelvis up and circle. It's got curves, the natural lumbar curve, the natural cervical curve, the natural thoracic curve that like are going in and out, snaking around. And we can move it in all these different ways, change direction. So sometimes we think, oh, I've got this thing in there and it's never going to change. It's like, well, maybe if you move a little bit. I'm not saying move extreme movement. Sometimes when we're injured, we really need to limit our range of motion. So whenever things are hurting, make it smaller, right? Just go smaller. Roll it down through your spine. Let's take the arms up, taking a deep breath in. Fill up your lungs, reach through your fingers, and then on the exhale, press your pelvis up. Inhale, fold in the hips coming down. Exhale, pressing it up. Inhale, lengthening the spine as you come down. Exhale, pushing, maybe massaging out that top space of your upper traps by your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale down. Exhale up. We're going to stay this time, and you're just going to dip one hip, and then inhale, lift both hips even. Exhale, dip the other hip. Inhale, press. Exhale, dip. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, roll it all the way down through your spine. And take a happy baby, playful position. Let yourself move around. I've got the couch to contend with. So if you're in a small space and you're like, oh, I have no room, use the space that is blocking you to push into, give yourself some relationship to whatever's around you so that you can make it more fun and playful, right? Like I can encounter my couch and go, oh no, there's resistance and it's a problem. Or I can go, oh, I can push off of it. I can lean into it. I can use it. I can have a relationship with it. Oh, and now it's out of the way. How interesting. All right. So maybe that's something to think about as a metaphor for life when you're encountering resistance, be it your own or somebody else's. Like maybe there's another way to deal with that block as being something that, oh, but I can push against it. I can play with it. It can become interesting. Let's take our hands on the knees, circles. Letting your spine free up, letting your lower back really be easy, letting that massage out your sacrum and your lumbar, and feeling that relationship of those big femur heads change direction into that hip socket, ball and socket joint. And so as we're circling around, we're getting this movement, we're giving the upper knobs of our femur heads, so our greater and lesser trochanter. Greater is a big old ball. Lesser trochanter is a much smaller knob. So here's my big knob of the greater trochanter. Here's the little small knob of the lesser trochanter right there in my inner thighs. As we're moving them around, because we're moving and the tissue's pulling, it's going to help the integrity of the joint by hydrating the joint, synovial fluid in the joint, but also the tissue that moves, tissue hydrates. The bones that have these relationships with the stuff that they're connecting to that are dynamic and moving are going to be healthier than sitting still all the time. Hands behind your head, contralateral pattern, elbow to knee, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I look like a heat miser. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and relax, drop it down. Turn your head from side to side. Free up your spine. So instead of thinking of your spine as being like a column, you could think of it like a river. Like it's got this capacity for a movement. There's the cerebral spinal fluid inside, which is the closest thing to fresh water, or so I've heard, in our bodies. And it's nourishing our brain, our spinal cord, our nerves, and it's also like bolstering it, and it's clearing away waste. Like it's doing so much stuff. Let's roll back and forth, rolling through your back. If it doesn't feel good to go forward, back, or go side, side instead. Oh, and if you need to make some noises, oh, especially if something hurts, add some sound. All right. Oh my God. And then let's take it down. Oh, so yeah, this is the first of my own classes that I have actually done in a couple, whatever, since the beginning of time. Let's go from side to side. Big spiral. Take as long as you want. So for right now, what my purposes are for this spiral is A, to get the spiral, but B is to roll across this part of my lower back as I go from side to side. And if I do that slower, it it's going to have more effect on the fascia. So I'm just taking my time to massage that out, right? Compression. That's what that is. And movement. So we can do compression where we're squishing it. We can do shear where we're having that movement from side to side. Let's actually do that. Let's lower our feet and find the shear version. So from here, I can drop down and then I can just rock. And I'm getting that big plate of my iliacus, the big bone of my pelvis, and my floor are providing shear on this two sides so that that muscle of my glutes, my piriformis, all that stuff that's in there is getting a different way of moving. I can go up and down with that too, or make kind of circles. So I'm getting that tissue in my butt and lower back to really move around. Switch it to the other side whenever you're ready. Rock it. And because I'm really sore in my glutes and in my rotators from ballet and squatting, I can really feel what's moving, right? That's the one thing about it's great when you're sore is then you can go, oh, this is what, that's where those muscles are. Oh, I'm using those muscles when I do this thing. So I don't know. I always look on being sore as being kind of an excellent gift to have more insight into what's going on inside. And I mean sore from either you've overstretched or you've overworked the muscle, not like injured. All right, let's go with the big leg circles that are my other favorite. I called this class the basics because I'm trying to get back to the basics for myself of what my body needs to feel good for the rest of the run of the show. Open it out and all the way down. And just for those of you who knew that I fell off the pole, I am totally fine, 1,000% recovered. And also from the COVID, pretty recovered. What I will say about COVID is I've spent the past year doing 3 different courses of breath work with Tim Vanderfleet, and that has put into play in my life a really pretty robust practice of breath work. So I feel like I never couldn't breathe through my nose. I never, like my lungs weren't that bad. Like I could always breathe deeply. Let's change direction in the circles, down and out. See here again, I have that moment where I get to hit the couch. And then I can play with how does that work for me? Or I could make it smaller and avoid the couch altogether. Or I could even move my own body, right? How often is there an obstacle that I could easily just get out of the way of and have the space? Last one. Let's open up and roll from side to side. Again, massaging out the lower back, massaging out the butt, gently rolling. And then let's close, folding onto one side, and then opening up and folding onto the other side. Opening it up. Maybe make some sound. Letting some vibration in the rib cage, lungs, and vocal cords. Get into the mix. And then shake it, shake it, shake it. Relax your neck, tongue, and throat. And let's do hundreds with a sh sound. So it's going to be like this. Your arms are going to go up over your head. Deep breath in, legs come up to 90 degrees, and then down to 45. Inhale. Reach it out. Do a hard sh, like you're the librarian in the library, everyone's out of control. Quiet them down. It's going to connect your abs in a different way. So even doing this sh is a type of breath work. Back row, you be quiet. Inhale, just kidding. Two more. Imagine your arms lifting over your head. That's part of your lungs. And relax it. Let's internally rotate both legs, one at a time. So feet are kind of wide. Again, we're getting that relationship of the femur head up into the hip socket, all of this tissue. You can even put your hands on your pelvis and see what you feel, right? We're not encouraged to touch ourselves. But we really should be, because then we can sort of feel what's going on. Oh, here's the bones, here's the tissue, here are my organs. As my leg turns in like that, what's going on in my organs? Like there's movement. There's movement there. Amazing. And we want that. We want our organs to have a little bit of movement. They're not going to fall out. They're all pretty nicely anchored in there, vacuum packed. And there's this pressure. This lower body stuff is a high pressure system. That's part of what keeps us vertical, like when we're sitting up. All of the vacuum packing of our guts in and up. Yeah, center of levity. It's going up, center of gravity is going down. But that doesn't mean that our energy is going down or up. Like that's really up to us. This hair stuff, I've got some weird hair powder in to maximize the volume. That's what's giving me the heat miser look. Which, if you don't know that reference, I actually think it's from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the guy's got like a song about being the heat miser. It's one of those weird animated things. It's definitely Christmas stuff we're talking about here. All right, let's come to all fours. Big circles with your chest, lungs, and heart down to the floor, up. You're letting yourself move in whatever way feels good in your spine. You do not need to lock anything down. We are trying to free it up. And then change direction other way. And then let's come in, hands underneath, and let's do out, in, out. So it's going to go out, touch it in, reach it out, change. Out, in, out. Change. Out, in, out. Out, in, out, out. Thinking of yourself as like three parallel lines. The line of your spine, and then the line of each side of your body as we're working this contralateral cross-body pattern that has an upper-lower component. Good. Let's stop that for a second. We're going to take one leg out behind, pointed toes right behind you, and make circles. If you feel confident and you want to take the opposite arm off the floor, go for it. If you're working happily where you are, don't feel like you need to change it. And then flex your foot in the back, change direction with the circles. Hand down, foot down, elbows to the floor. Same leg out behind you again, kicking the ceiling, up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Deep breathing. 7. Always feel free to get as much oxygen as you need. 9, 10. And let's take our butt back into child's pose, and then shift your butt to the side of the leg you were just working, and your head can go in the opposite direction. switch to the other side. And then come in and up and take the other leg out. Circles right behind you. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what a circle is in the back. If it's not a circle, don't worry, it's fine. Just move it around in some weird way. And then flex and change direction. Shoulders wide. Yeah, opposite arm. I totally forgot about it on this side. I was so busy thinking about circles. Good. And then hands down, elbows to the floor. That leg goes out behind you for 10. Up and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Curl your toes under. We're going to take this straight into a forearm plank. Open your feet wider. Circles with your hips down towards the floor and up to the ceiling. What are we doing? We're mobilizing and strengthening. Change direction. And then knees in, tail back. Relax for a second. Take a couple of big deep breaths. Fill up like you're a bubble getting bigger. And then we're going to come up and release the hip on the other side. So both hips actually. Just taking your knees back a little further, circles with your pelvis towards the floor, and then back behind you. Change direction. So I think sometimes the old thinking about our bodies is that they're just, you know, these systems that are just wearing out through life. And I think that's a really bad model for it. They're not just systems wearing out. They're alive. They're living. What we eat, who we hang out with, how much we sleep, how much daylight we get, all of that is going to affect this living system. And some things are going to make us heal a lot more quickly, and some things are going to slow it down, right? So, and I think we know a lot of those answers of what's doing what. So sometimes it's hard to be really great all the time. But so give yourself a break. If you do something that is kind of not the greatest thing in the world, don't beat yourself up for doing it. Like, let's say you ate the Doritos, you had the margarita, you snorted the cocaine. Just kidding. Don't snort the cocaine. That's decidedly really bad for you. So anyway, circles. But maybe you did it. Maybe you smoked the cigarette, whatever it is that you did. Forgive yourself and then just try not to do it again. Change direction. Yeah, the beating up and the guilt and the shame do not help at all. And they're kind of like little poisons that make things worse. Yeah, and I feel like there are ritualistic ways of sort of letting go of old patterning sometimes. Like this show that we're doing called Splitting My Sides. It's about like sloughing off the old skin. Hands behind your head, reach out through your heels, elbow to the floor, and then come back up. So actively pushing through your legs. And the thing about humans that's different than reptiles is like it's sloughing our skin. We are actually kind of doing it all the time, not doing it in one big thing, but we are sloughing the skin all the time. So it's not like we need to wait for the moment where we take off all our skin. It's happening all the time. So we can just keep adjusting to the new moment in our bodies. Take it to the side, stretch out your arms, and then open, open, open. Hands behind your head, elbow to the floor. Reach it out. Open, open, open. Louise Hay has a affirmation that is like, I bless this pattern and I release it from my life. So Anthony and I bless this pattern with love and I release it from my life. And maybe you need to say that 1,000 times, or maybe you need to say it once. That's part of the work of just being a human. Or Or you could be, I bless this pattern and I invite it into my life, right? I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to do breath work. I'm going to take my walk first thing in the morning, whatever it is. Take it down to your leg, hang out. Hello, leg. Maybe your leg's far away and you're like, I would like to get closer to you. I would like to have a more intimate relationship. Go to the other side. And then come back, taking it down the center. If you're finished with this, you're like, oh, I hate the straddle. Just come into a Baddha Konasana and hang out there. But if you're happy in your straddle, and you know what, clap your hands. Take it down. Breathe. Maybe you want to become more intimate with the floor. Hello, floor. Hello, earth beneath my feet. Thank you for supporting me every day. I don't fall through. I am right here, connected to the ground. Yay! And then coming up and bringing it in. And we can think of the ground as a metaphor for our relationships, for our stuff, for all the things, the material things in the world, right? Shifting around. We can think of the ground as a metaphor for our bodies even. The earthy nature. Do a little walk, butt walk. Let that move through your torso. So see, even if your legs, you had no legs, you could still move, right? You could still walk. Our bodies were made to do this patterning, to have this mobility. All right, let's get down onto our bellies. Ugh. Bend your knees. Let your legs fall from side to side, massaging out your quads, checking out the dust on the floor. I guarantee if you spend more time on the floor, you will vacuum more. Maybe that's not true. For me, it's true. Taking your arms out in front of you, legs behind, opposite arm to leg, inhale, lift, and exhale down. But you might find something that you'd lost, right? Oh, there's that sock. There's that cat toy. Okay, we're going to change it. You're going to come up, take it to the diagonal, narrow it back in, lower down. Up, diagonal, in, down. Up, hand to foot diagonal, bring it in, down, up, sideways, in, down. Up, out, in, down. Last one. Up, out, in. And just relax. Wiggle it out. Wag your big bushy tail. Picture what your big tail looks like. Maybe it doesn't even have fur on it. It doesn't have to just have one look. You could be creative about what your tail looks like. All right, reach your legs out behind you, hands next to your chest. Inhale, baby cobra, no hands. Exhale down. Use your breath. And the next one, you're going to go as high as you can. Connect your hands and keep going up. That is the other thing this show has in it. It has a bunch of these crazy back bends that then go into the exact opposite position, usually a squat. But it's not like, oh, my back has like, 100,000 forward folds left in it, or 50,000 back bends left in it. It's like, no, you use it and your body forms to be able to do that, especially if you listen in while you're doing it, so you're not doing too much all at once. Take it back into a child's pose. This time in our child's pose, let's interlace our hands out in front of our head and just roll up onto the crown of your head, rounding your spine and taking it back. I will say, I will be really happy to see my chiropractor next week sometime. I hope. And then take it back and come up. And let me just see what time it is. Okay, let's go into a downward dog. Walk through your feet, bend one knee, bend the other, let your hips dip, look under your armpit, have some freedom there. And then just hang out in your dog for a second. Heels reaching toward the floor, butt reaching toward the ceiling. Let's round the spine from the tail to the head, rolling it forward into a plank, slowly lowering it down to the floor. Moving through a chaturanga to an up dog, and taking it back to your down dog. So just slightly different because we're going to roll the spine, rolling the wave of the spine from the tail to the head, all the way forward, slowly lowering down to the floor. I'm going to touch all the way down, dive through, round my head, curl, rolling it back up. One more time. Heels high, scoop the belly in, round, roll it forward, slowly lower. Arch. And then up and over into your dog one more time. Again, maybe pump your little feet. And let's take it down into a side plank. But first let's give our wrists a break. Just circle in, circle out. Fingertips through the wrist into the radius and ulna, those two bones in your forearm. Getting that interosseous membrane to move, which is in between those two bones. Yeah, I know about it because I heard it one time. That's the other beauty about injuries is you end up learning a lot about yourself. If you're interested, right? Don't think of it like I always think, fascinating. What have I done? Now what do I do to fix that? So that's kind of makes it easier for me because, of course, I am moving a lot. One of my clients said, Laura, how come you're injured? You move all the time. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. If you move a lot, you're going to get injured. It happens. That's part of life. So we're going to come onto our elbow and our knee, reach out, take it back, exhale. Inhale into the C curve, exhale, elbow past your knee. Open, close, open, close. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 3 more, 2, last one. And onto your butt. Swing your legs around and take it onto the other side. Elbow and knee. Leg and arm kicking back. Exhale. Inhale. 1. I'm going to count this time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing. 8, 9, 10. And take it down. And let's sit up on our butts. Actually, let's do this cross-legged. My favorite exercise. It helps my back a lot. Cross-legged position, just circling the whole way around. Side stretch. Taking it over your knee. Into the center. Over to the other knee. To the side. And you know, one thing that I actually did when I had COVID, and it was warm enough I could do it, I went outside and sat in the sun and tried to get the actual vitamin D from the sun. Sideways. Also had it was the right temperature. I could have the fans on, the windows open the whole time. The hardest part was keeping the cats out of my room, especially the pea pod. She really wanted to be in there. She was so bummed out. Anytime the door would open, she had the opportunity. She'd shoot in there like a little rocket. And then I had to pick her up and put her back out. I felt so bad for her. And eventually Gaylord, like one of the doors, it kind of wedges shut, and it's pretty shut. Like you really have to give it a yank to open it. But Gaylord's a big guy. He can get his paw under there and pull. So he did. He breached the room toward the end. He made it in. Then they all came scurrying in. We're going the other way, or I don't even know which way. I just changed my legs. Change your legs so non-dominant leg is in front. I'm going to go a little faster this time around. You can go slow or fast. I'm just going to repeat it a few times. I got too excited by the cat story. Inhale, open. Okay. Let's change this slightly. So just undo your legs for a second. Give them a bang. Rotate in and out. I am grabbing onto my knees and just moving the tissue around my knees with my thumbs a little bit. And then down my legs, a little bit of self-touch. Feel into your body. It shouldn't be an unknown territory. You should have some, like, oh, that's what it feels like to touch this part of my body today, because it can feel very different tomorrow. So yeah, like start to build a relationship. Grab on. Sometimes really light, barely touching, and sometimes really digging in there, getting into, the depths. Just having a relationship with it. There's a pretty good chance that you're not going to hurt yourself, but you may do some good. All right, so now we're going to do one foot in front of the other, like this. If you have a lotus, you could do that, just taking it forward here. Breathing into it. Oh, and I'm getting a cramp in my calf. Coffee and not enough water. Oh, it's happening again. All right, let's do the other side. See if it works on that side. So I'll say the part of my body that's cramping right now is a part of my body that's like where I was a little bit injured before, right? So often there's a relationship between those things, right? So if we have an area that needs more attention, then let's give it more attention and go, oh, squeaky wheel gets the grease. I'm looking at Caroline, she's nodding. All right, slide your feet underneath you, take your butt up to the ceiling, let your head hang down. Oh, let go. Give yourself a big sigh. Oh, shake it out. You could flutter your lips. I can't do it very well upside down. I can't do it very well even standing up, but I can do it. Bend and straighten. Let your hamstrings release. And then nod. Yes. Shake your head. No. Free up your whole spine. Let everything drop from your tail down to your arms towards the floor. And then slowly roll it up through your spine, coming up to the top. And we'll just do one thing here, and it's actually one of the moves in the show. Spiral, circle on the right, circle on the left. Just freeing up this butterfly pattern, letting your head and tail free up. Imagine that you're throwing out of your hands anything you don't need. Just getting rid of it. Maybe it's an old crusty idea. Maybe it's some self-judgment. Maybe it's judgment of someone else. Just let it go. Relax. And then coming in, inhale, open. Fill up your lungs. And exhale, again, feeling out into the space around you. Inhale, open. And exhale. One more. Third time is a charm. Lift and exhale. So if you're out there in TV land, like and subscribe. Consider supporting